Hello everyone! We've all heard about ninjas, but have you ever wondered where these Japanese warriors came from and why they struck fear into people's hearts? Legends say that these stealthy spies received training from a young age and were forced to do terrible things. Some even believe that their unique physical and mental preparation allowed them to get extraordinary abilities.
Pain breeds weakness.
In Osaka, Japan, a young Yakuza who recently rose in rank is getting an Irizumi tattoo. The seasoned tattoo master is hard at work, while the young man constantly grumbles and talks back. He accuses the artist of being clumsy, and in response, the man explains that tattoos reveal one's true nature and represent one of the four noble professions: warrior, artist, merchant, or farmer. If there's a conflict between the mark and the skin, it might suggest that the chosen path isn't right for the Yakuza. This remark angers the thug, and he threatens the old man with a gun, but he can't pull the trigger until the master finishes the job. Right then, an assassin hands the Yakuza a letter. Inside the envelope, there's nothing but strange black sand. The thug spills it on the floor and doesn't take it seriously, but the old tattoo master looks terrified. He's seen a message like this before. He mentions that when the recipients opened the envelope in the past, they laughed at first.
And it came from the shadows, and their laughter was drowned in blood.
Overwhelmed by fear, the tattoo artist can't bring himself to name what emerged from the darkness and carried out the massacre. Instead, he reveals a scar on his chest. The blade was supposed to pierce his heart, but he survived thanks to a unique mutation. He has a heart on the right side of his body. Looking closer, the Yakuza notices a tattoo on the old man's chest, a ninja wielding a sword. The thugs taunt the master, who's too scared to even utter the word ninja. They will simply shoot down any ancient warriors who decide to attack them. In that instant, one of the thugs' heads is severed from his shoulders. The lights go out, and something moves in the dark corners. The thugs open fire, but an unseen attacker sneaks up behind them, brutally cutting them in half. Deadly shurikens kill the Yakuza's last henchman. The lone survivor offers the assassin triple the bounty on his head and pleads for mercy. The tattoo artist says it's no use, stating that a ninja is no ordinary man, but a demon sent straight from hell. The Yakuza's severed hands fall to the floor, and he barely has time to scream before losing his head. A ninja in a black mask reveals himself to the old man. 57 years ago, the man survived, but now the assassin intends to leave no witnesses. Across the globe in Europol's Berlin office, two agents are having a discussion. In the course of an investigation, Mika came across some peculiar evidence and urges the agent to take it seriously.
Which of these words does not belong in this sentence? Laptop, space shuttle, nanotechnology, ninja.
Her boss, Maslow, lets out a sigh and reluctantly agrees to give Mika an hour of his time. She explains that in the 19th century, the Korean queen was assassinated by the Japanese ninja clan Ozunu. And just last week in Osaka, someone took down a Yakuza gang. And rumor has it that the price for their head was £100 in gold. This exact amount recently disappeared from a famous man's account. Mika has discovered another international wire transfer of the same amount, occurring on the day when the Russian Prime Minister was assassinated. It looks like ninja clans might still be around even centuries later. They apparently kidnap young kids and mold them into ruthless mercenaries. Yet no one across the globe seems to care about that. That same night in Berlin, a young Japanese man named Raizo walks into a laundromat. There, he notices a Japanese woman who flashes him a friendly smile and asks for help folding a sheet. The guy quickly realizes that this stranger has been sent to kill him. She's a ninja, as is Raizo. The room is soon filled with the swish of blades slicing through the air and the flutter of white fabric. Raizo wins, and the laundromat owner discovers the woman's lifeless body inside of one of the washing machines. Later, Maslow and Mika meet in the park, still intrigued by the mystery surrounding the dead Russian Prime Minister. Interestingly, a KGB agent by the name of Sabatin reached the same conclusion as Mika did. In his report, he mentioned the 9 clans, but his findings were disregarded, and he was kicked out of the service for mental instability. After that, he died under mysterious circumstances. Getting involved in this case seems pretty dangerous. Though reluctant to meet a similar fate, Maslow decides to cautiously assist Mika. It appears he likes her more than just a co-worker. Meanwhile, Raizo comes home, planning to move to a new apartment because his place has been exposed. His apartment seems empty at first glance, but it's actually full of hidden ninja weapons. The cleaning lady came in while he was away, But even she didn't suspect a thing. Raizo thinks back to what his teacher told him. He joined the Ozunu clan as a child after being abandoned by his parents. The clan's leader, Lord Ozunu, considered him and the other kids as his own and personally trained them. The teacher taught them how to control their bodies and cut his palm with a knife. Miraculously, the wound healed within seconds. Mastering this skill required brutal training, and not everyone could endure it. Yet the best among them would eventually become the clan leader. At the next training session, Raizo defeats his clan brother. The teacher is pleased with him.
In combat, you face the enemy without doubt, without pity or remorse.
Even at that early age, Raizo's body already bore many scars. Under the guidance of the clan leader, he learned the silent walk of a ninja. When Raizo's steps made the floor creak, his sensei gave him fresh wounds on the soles of his feet. With bloody footprints left behind, Raizo treaded more cautiously. During the night, he was kept awake by the excruciating pain. Adapting to a life of strict discipline and cruelty, Raizo endured all the hardship. Then a glimmer of kindness arrived in the form of a fellow student named Kiriko. She too belonged to the clan, yet for some reason, she disregarded the rules to apply aloe vera to Raizo's feet, bringing him a bit of relief from the inflammation. Raizo was deeply moved by this act of compassion. Years later, he recalls it as if it happened just yesterday. In his hand, he holds a gold watch with a broken dial. Meanwhile, Mika talks to the widow of the KGB agent Sabaton. The woman explains that their life turned to hell after the report on the ninja clans was made public. Her husband grew paranoid and took measures like installing a fence, security cameras all around the house, and floodlights that never turned off, leaving no place for shadows. One day, an unfamiliar young man came to speak with Sabaton. Their conversation left the agent deeply disturbed. He told his wife he loved her, as if saying goodbye.
Can I ask how he died? The lights went out.
The ninjas got to Sabaton after all. The woman is grateful that someone else remembers her husband. She hands Mika a box of secret documents. The woman studies them at home and finds a videotape. It's surveillance footage of two ninjas fighting in the darkness. One of them is not wearing a mask. It's Raizo. Speaking of the guy, he continues to train diligently. He performs handstands, balancing on sharp needles, and hones his skills with weapons. When he was a teenager, he lost a fight to his rival, Takashi. During the fight, he got a deep cut on his head, causing him to cry out in pain. The teacher approached him, remarking that the pain was insignificant and that a true ninja should not be bothered by such minor discomfort. To rid young Raizo of weakness, the clan leader delivered a unique strike to his stomach with his fingers. This inflicted excruciating pain, causing Raizo to collapse in agony. Kiriko couldn't help but shudder at the boy's screams. Raizo laid on the ground for hours, struggling to catch his breath. However, by morning, his sensei found him seated in the lotus pose, which impressed the man. As Mika continues with her investigation, an agent from Internal Affairs pays her a visit. He knows about her meetings with Maslow in the park and asks if Maslow seemed different to her lately. Mika quickly realizes that this is a veiled threat disguised as a routine inspection. She and her partner decide to plan their next moves with even greater caution. In the evening, when Mika returns home, she quickly switches on the light. She studies the documents again, learning a story of an Arab traveler who journeyed to Japan with a group of orphans who were being brought to the clan of the Black Sand. Their secret hideaway was well hidden amidst snow-capped mountains. Inside, young children, barely 10 years old, engaged in fierce battles. The clan's leader taught them that the life of one student meant nothing compared to the life of the clan. When you own the meaning of a person's life, you can also own their heart. Raizo recalls his past once more as he strolls through the streets of Berlin. On one particular day, he and Kiriko practiced the art of bonsai. The girl tried to cut the line that gave the plant's trunk its unique curve. She could be severely punished for that, and Raizo attempted to persuade her not to do that. However, the girl responded by saying that the heart of the tree knows best where it should grow.
Trees don't have hearts.
Everything has a heart.
I don't.
Kiriko didn't believe him and leaned in to press her ear against his chest. She could indeed hear the steady thump of his heart, and she suggested that Raizo listen to her heart too. Raizo agreed, and the unexpected closeness between them left him feeling shocked. While in Berlin, he continues his training wearing a blindfold. In the clan, ninjas willingly gave up one of their senses for a year. Raizo first chose to live without his sight, All his sparring and training sessions happened in darkness, although everyone else could see him. Raizo had to rely solely on his sense of hearing to triumph over his opponents in fights. Unfortunately, he could no longer see Kiriko, but in the silence of the night, he listened to her heartbeat. Kiriko also made progress, emerging victorious in sparring matches against boys. Then one day, the clan leader handed her a knife and told her to leave a scar on her defeated opponent. Kiriko, however, refused. In response, the clan leader slashed her face and confined her within a bamboo cage. She had to stand there day and night with no food or water. During the night, Raizo sneaked in to offer her a drink, saying that he had warned her things would end this way. He wondered why things ended up this way.
Why am I in here? Or why are you out there?
When Kiriko was set free, her face bore a huge scar, serving as a warning to others. One stormy night, Raizo noticed Kiriko trying to slip out of bed and make a run for it. Raizo quickly caught up with her, reminding her that if she got caught, they would cut out her heart. However, Kiriko was confident that no harm would come to her. Kiriko kissed Raizo and urged him to join her, but he couldn't imagine a life outside of the clan and declined. Accepting his choice, Kiriko scaled the tall wall. She didn't manage to get far and got caught later that night. Raizo awoke to the sound of the girl's cries, but remained silent, merely watching as she was dragged down the hallway. He also didn't do anything when she was sentenced to death. Lord Ozunu handed Takeshi a blade, and he proceeded to pierce the girl's heart in front of the crowd. In Berlin, Raizo receives a phone call. He follows the lead and discovers a photo of Mika along with her address. Meanwhile, in the parking lot, Maslow catches up with Mika and quickly gets into the car with her. He appears quite scared and reveals that Secret Service agents are currently searching his office. He insists that Mika should go into hiding and hands her an untraceable gun for self-defense. Maslow has worked on all sorts of cases, but he believes they're digging too deep this time. He bids farewell and leaves. As Mika approaches her home, she notices that the entire neighborhood is engulfed in darkness as the lights are out. She's still a bit skeptical about the existence of ninjas, but decides to enter the building holding a flashlight. Inside her apartment, she stumbles upon a sealed envelope with black sand on her table. Suddenly, a masked assassin holding a blade approaches her. Just in the nick of time, a chain wraps around the assassin's sword, saving Mika from certain death. In the pitch-black room, two shadowy figures engage in a fierce struggle, with one managing to disarm Mika. When one of the attackers is killed, Mika frantically searches for the other. A voice sounds from the darkness, revealing that more mercenaries are on their way to finish her off, and her gun won't be enough to stop them. The mysterious stranger offers his help. When Raizo removes his mask, Mika recognizes him. They exchange information confirming Mika's suspicions. Raizo knew the assassin sent to kill the girl. His name was Jin, and he used to be just a kid. Just as they hear other ninjas approaching, Raizo leads Mika away. Takashi arrives at an empty apartment and realizes Raizo has been there. Mika drives her savior away from her home in a car. Although they don't appear to be being followed, Raizo knows for sure they are in danger.
They have our scent.
Following our sin. Like dogs?
No, like wolves.
Mika wonders why Raizo abandoned the clan and is meddling with their operations. If they want to kill Mika just for her investigation, then Raizo should have been 6 feet under ages ago because of what he did. And why did he rescue Mika? This all traces back to the first job Raizo got from the sensei. The target was sporting a flashy gold watch on his wrist, a kind of trophy that had to be claimed. Raizo cornered the man in a restroom and went for a quick neck stab, spraying the blood all over the floor. But the target didn't back down. Instead, he fought back with all he had. Raizo attacked desperately, yet the guy kept advancing, eventually cornering Raizo. That's when the ninja let loose, using all his skills to finish off the target. Covered in blood, Raizo grabbed the watch and retreated to the rooftop. The rain washed away the aftermath of the fight, snapping him back to his senses like a cold shower. Shortly after, the rest of the clan showed up, and Lord Ozunu couldn't have been prouder of his student.
It will remind you that every moment of your life is a gift I have given you.
But the test isn't over just yet. Raizo still has one more task to complete. There's another girl who tried to escape from the clan, and now Raizo has to execute her. As the bound girl kneels before him, Raizo's heart grows heavy. All he can think about is Kiriko, and his emotions take over. Swiftly, he hurls a sickle attached to a chain straight at his sensei, slashing deep into his eye. The teacher orders to punish the defiant student, and the other ninjas spring into action. Raizo dispatches them with deadly precision, but his strength is waning, and the second wave of attackers leaves him seriously wounded. Dozens of shurikens hurtle toward him, and Raizo tumbles from the skyscraper's roof. Thankfully, there's a deep pool of water waiting below. After this, Raizo had no choice but to do everything in his power to thwart the clan's plans, and eventually confront the ruthless lord. Mika offers her help, and they proceed to buy new clothes and check into a motel to rid themselves of any lingering smell. Later, Mika contacts Maslow, who surprisingly is still alive. She shares the news and arranges a meeting with him in a secluded spot. They show up, but Raizo senses that something is wrong. Turns out, Maslow set up a trap, illuminating the area with spotlights, and a swarm of cops descends on Raizo, rendering him immobile with stun guns. Mika protests, but no one listens to her, and they transport Raizo to a secret prison, chaining him to the wall.
Sure doesn't look like a killing machine to me, sir. Looks like he belongs in a boy band.
Maslow realizes that Raizo isn't the person they were after. However, Raizo is wanted by various intelligence agencies worldwide, all of whom are pressing for his extradition. Mika is livid, prompting her and Maslow to step aside for a private conversation. Maslow hands her a portable tracking device, emphasizing that she should activate it if she finds herself in trouble. For now, they must follow the protocols and be careful. Later, Mika approaches the chained Raizo and offers him some water. She assures him that she knew nothing of the trap, though Raizo already knows this. He can detect lies by the heartbeat, and Mika's heart is special. Raizo then warns her about an incoming group of ninjas. Mika tries to persuade Maslow to leave, but he remains overly confident in the SWAT team's skills. Suddenly, all the lights go out. A squad of sword-wielding assassins descends from above, launching a brutal onslaught. Amid the chaos, Mika attempts to reach Raizo, but the guards refuse to open the door for her. A moment later, Mika retrieves the key from their dead bodies. Just in the nick of time, she manages to free Raizo from his shackles, and he joins the battle. He takes down a couple of ninjas, and he and Mika walk through the corridor strewn with bodies. Maslow, however, remains hidden on another floor. Raizo heads there as well, but a group of ninjas emerges from the shadows to confront him. He single-handedly attacks his opponents, and then takes up his sword. He keeps taking down ninjas with his honed movements. Still, there are too many of them, and the wounded Raizo retreats. He has to jump from a great height, cushioning his fall with improvised means. Meanwhile, Mika gets to her car in the parking lot and waits inside. However, one of the ninjas gets to her, prompting Mika to hit the gas. She shakes off her pursuer with a well-aimed shot and speeds onto the street. Raizo, on the other hand, is still fighting for his life. He has to leap through a broken window, landing on a minivan parked nearby. He sprints down the road, managing to elude his relentless pursuers. The ninjas cause a series of car crashes and finally catch up to Raizo. With no other option left, Raizo decides to face his adversaries head-on. He swiftly takes down two of them and engages in a tense sword fight with the third opponent, his old friend Takashi. They're moments away from a deadly showdown when a speeding car abruptly slams into both of them. Takashi's about to finish off Raizo, but in a surprising twist, Mika hits the ninja with her car. Raizo, badly injured, gets inside and pulls away the shuriken stuck in his body. As he's slowly passing out, he refuses to go to the hospital. Maslow calls Mika, but she doesn't trust him the way she used to, and hangs up. She takes Raizo to a motel and talks to him while he's unconscious. Mika is only a forensic researcher, which is a fancy way of saying she's a librarian. The woman apologizes for not being able to help and thanks him for saving her life. She then activates the tracking device and Maslow gets their coordinates. But the SWAT team doesn't make it to the location first. A ninja squad kidnaps Raizo before they arrive. Mika stayed hidden, and the ninjas didn't see her. Maslow shows up at the motel, but he's 10 minutes late. As Raizo is transported in a narrow, coffin-like container, he wakes up and starts using the Ozunu clan techniques to heal his wounds. Eventually, he is brought before the one-eyed sensei.
You are the son I was waiting for. The one to take my place.
But Raizo's recent actions have brought disgrace to the clan. Ozunu orders that the traitor be put before the clan and executed just like Kiriko. The sensei keeps talking and delivers 3 finger strikes to Raizo's stomach. While just one of these strikes almost killed Raizo in the past, he now merely spits out blood and defiantly laughs at the teacher. Suddenly, the tracking device falls from Raizo's mouth. Takashi barely has time to warn his teacher, as the military forces are already rushing onto the ninjas' premises. They attack from all sides and illuminate the surroundings with powerful searchlights. Many ninjas are taken down by bullets, but the survivors continue to fight with unwavering determination. Mika risks her life to free Raizo, and he says that he heard everything she told him back at the motel. Raizo leaps into action, and the soldiers fire rockets while storming the building. Takashi and other ninjas quickly take down the first soldiers that go inside. In the midst of the inferno, Raizo emerges with his blades at the ready. 4 ninjas launch an attack on the traitor, but he is already completely recovered from his injuries, effortlessly evading their strikes. One after another, the adversaries meet their demise, leaving Takashi as the last man standing. Raizo confronts him in the training room where they had spent their entire childhood. As the battle rages on, a burning beam suddenly crashes from the ceiling, putting a halt to their clash. Takashi taunts Raizo.
Do you remember the sound she made when I stuck her?
Enraged, Raizo charges at Takashi, chopping off his hand. Takashi tries to fight back, but it's already over. Raizo doesn't leave him any chance and drives a sharp blade into his neck. Moving quietly through the corridor, Raizo senses that the teacher anticipates him. Even now, the sensei seems pleased that his apprentice remembers all his lessons, signifying his enduring bond with the clan, even if Raizo refuses to acknowledge it. Raizo finds Ozunu and swiftly attacks him with his sickle on a chain. Ozunu effortlessly deflects the attack and tells Raizo to beg for forgiveness. When Raizo refuses, he vanishes into the shadows and strikes him from behind. With a powerful strike, Ozunu sends Raizo tumbling, his frustration evident as he blames his student for getting attached to people and allowing weakness to creep into his heart. They engage in a sword duel, with Ozunu launching a relentless series of attacks, while Raizo is mostly on the defense, gradually losing his strength. Noticing the fierce battle, Mika rushes to help Raizo. Raizo can't dodge his sensei's strikes, and his blood splatters the walls. Ozunu accuses him of causing his brother's demise. How could he place himself above his family? However, Raizo doesn't regard the clan as his brothers and sensei as his father.
The breath I take after I kill you will be the first breath of my life.
The teacher and the student prepare to take each other down, but Ozunu vanishes again. He emerges behind Raizo, yet the young man anticipates the move. He seizes Ozunu's blade and thrusts his fingers into his abdomen. The next strike also hits the mark, yet that doesn't stop Ozunu, and he uses the shadows again. Raizo can't defend himself and collapses to the ground from his wound. The sensei gets ready to finish him off, but out of nowhere, Mika appears and shoots at him. Raizo desperately yells at her to stay back, but Ozunu, hidden in the darkness, pierces Mika's heart. She collapses, lifeless. Raizo is horrified, unable to believe she's gone. The teacher approaches the student who's lying on the floor. He says that most children aren't worth the effort to raise them. Raizo swiftly vanishes and mimics the sensei's shadow move, cutting off his arms and inflicting several injuries. With a final strike, he pierces Ozunu's body, bringing his quest for vengeance to a close. Raizo carries Mika's lifeless body in his arms, and Maslow urgently calls for doctors. Just as they rush to the scene, Mika suddenly gasps for air. Raizo knew that her special heart was on the right side of her body, and that she would survive. Once the chaos from the battle subsides, Raizo heads back to the clan's training hall. There, he places the gold watch down and severs the wire on the plant, honoring Kiriko's memory. Following the path she once took, he climbs over the wall. In the movie, Raizo's weapon of choice is the kusarigama, a chain blade that's known to be quite challenging to master. When Raizo gets captured by Europol, one of the agents says he looks more like a member of a boy band. It's interesting to note that the actor Rain actually began his career in one. The renowned Wachowski sisters produced the film, which is why its visual style and action scenes resemble those of The Matrix. They were so impressed by Rain's performance in their movie Speed Racer that they decided to create this project specifically for him. Before shooting this movie, Rain had no prior experience in martial arts. To do the stunts, he dedicated 6 months to intensive training, honing his skills in combat and weapon mastery. As always, check out the movie name in the description below. In the meantime, tell us in the comments, when you were a kid, did you and your friends pretend to be ninjas? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to see even more cool recaps.